Okay, good evening, everybody. It is 6:01, so we will get started with this session of the Manvel Planning Development and Zoning Commission. Start with the roll call. See, I am here, Ryan Miller. Kyle is out this evening. Mary Ann Atkinson.
Here.
Kenneth Haynes. Christy Kennard is out this evening. Dorothy Wayne is out this evening, and Mohammed.
Yeah.
Perfect. You'll please stand for the pledge. Thank you. Miss Tammy, do you have any public comment cards tonight? No, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, we have a public hearing tonight, so we will start with that at 6:02. And that is to hear input from the public regarding an ordinance of the city of Manvel, Texas, amending the zoning ordinance of the city by amending the zoning classification of approximately 0.5727 acre tract of land located at 17205 Highway 6, Morris Avenue, Manvel, Texas, described as Reserve C1 of Manvel Town Center, Section 1, Partial Replat Number 1, from Planned Unit Development District, State Highway 6 Overlay District, to Planned Unit Development District, State Highway 6 Overlay District with specific use permit, providing for the granting of a specific use permit with conditions to authorize the use of property for NAICSU 621210, offices of dentists, providing for the amendment of the city's official zoning map, providing for severability, and providing a penalty in the amount not to exceed $2,000 for each day of violation or any provision hereof. Whew. Okay. Any comments? Second call for comments. And third and final call. No public comments, so we'll close the public hearing at 6:04. Okay, on to the consent agenda, which is just one item this evening. Do I have any motions for the consent agenda?
I make a motion for the consent agenda.
Second, all those in favor? 4-0, approved. And on our regular agenda, item A, consideration possible action to approve a final plat for Del Bello Section 8. Miss Jessica.
I'll turn it over to Joe's.
Good evening, commissioners and staff. This is a final plat for Del Bello Lake Section 8. This is a new residential section within Del Bello Lakes. A plat for this was previously approved in, I don't remember. It was previously approved, and a variance was approved in July 2022 time frame. However, recently a minor change had to be made, and it was caught at the construction stage, and therefore the developer is revising this plat. Staff is recommending denial of this. I'm sorry, I'm seeing a few errors on the report, and I'm kind of distracted because of the laptop. Staff is recommending denial with because of three reasons. Number one being revised to show the city limit line and city extraterritorial jurisdiction area accurately on the vicinity map, provide signature of registered professional land surveyor on the face of the plat, provide a current title policy, additionally revise order number and date in note 2 based on the title policy for consistency.
They're also four other conditions, 4 through 8 on the next page, with the property owner's signature for notary on the face of the plat, providing a 10-foot width call out for the .05 acre right-of-way easement dedication, revising note number 17, referencing city council variance about the 40-foot county road on the plat, and then adding a note indicating reserve deeds dedicated to City of Manvel. As Joe stated, and I apologize, I have more background on this one than Joe's does. This one had been approved summer of this last year in 2022. They did have a minor change that occurred having to do, I believe, with an easement with during construction that prompted a new submittal to Planning Development and Zoning Commission, but we are not able to recommend approval at this time of this plat.
And is that just for the number of items, not necessarily the type of items, or for a conditional approval?
We're not well, for conditional approval, we've just got some things on here that are slightly concerning about the title policy report,
Okay.
the property owner's signatures, things like that that kind of go hand in hand. They also don't have looks like they don't have the correct Planning Development and Zoning Commission abbreviation in the legend, and then some other things that
So a
yeah.
handful of typos, but one kind of red flag item for you.
Yeah, these are kind of some things that I think go maybe a little bit above beyond a typo. And apologies for the typo in the report. I know that's what it threw me off the first time I read it too, but that's okay. We really are talking about Debella Lake Section 8. These are probably a bit more than we would ever want to kind of recommend for a conditional approval, and considering what some of those are. It shouldn't be an issue for the developer to submit this back. They got the plat approved once before. I think the issue is that they submitted it on initial submittal. We provided comment, and then they didn't submit anything back to us. So they just didn't remedy the issues. I don't think it'd be difficult for them to do it.
Okay.
So does the developer know about the issues that they have now?
Yes. So I'd have to pull up the calendar, but when we took this plat in, we have about a 2-week period that we review it. At the end of that 2-week period, we email that correspondence of the reasons of why we want them to address it. And then they, in turn, about a week later, submit it back to us. It just looks like they just didn't respond back to us.
Okay.
And I've had a conversation with the applicant, and she said that they plan on addressing these comments at a later stage.
Any other questions?
Yeah,
Any-
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
For you on number 5, actually, I think it's look like it's in there. Provide the 10 feet wide call out. Am I missing something in here on the drawing, or is it not in there?
It's for item number 5, you said?
Right. Maybe I'm looking something else then.
I think what the note is stating, it's asking it to call out that dimension. So they've got a square footage slash acreage for it, but not an actual dimension on what the call out of that easement is. So the note of number 5 is reflecting it's more of a clarification for it. I will say if this was the only comment on this plat, it would have been a conditional approval to put that label on there. But since we had a bunch of other reasons why, it looks like it's just something that needs to be added for clarification.
Okay.
Anybody else with questions?
And I'd like to go ahead and interject that if we do the positive denials that for the new members, we've had probably a brief explanation, but this would be one where, because Robert's Rules of Order frowns against negative motions, it would be a motion to approve and a second to get it before the board, and then you could vote against it or for it, if however you wanted to, but that would be the proper way to at least get a motion before the board and then to deny it that way, instead of a motion to deny. That would be preferable to do the motion to approve and then vote however you want to vote.
Thank you, Bob. I will give you a motion to approve then. Do I have a second?
A second.
All those in favor? All those opposed? So the motion fails 4-0, 0-4. Okay, item B, consideration of possible action to approve the final plat of Kirby Drive Street Dedication Number 3. Ms. Jessica, is that going to be you?
I got that.
Okay.
Let me turn my microphone on for you. This is Kirby Drive Street Dedication Number 3. It's located in the Pomona development. Staff is recommending approval with one condition, and that is to provide the signed title policy for the plat. They provided one, it just doesn't have a signature on it. So that's a conditional approval on this phase of Kirby Drive through Pomona.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
just going through this,
Yeah.
Sometimes
trying to
make
look
it
at it.
larger, make it smaller, sometimes it's,
No, mine's being extremely slow as well.
I forgot to bring my mouse. Yeah, mouse is helpful.
Okay, here's a question for you. So conditionally, we're going to possibly approve it based on them signing the title on the plat?
So, whenever we get any final plat submittal, we get a title report with that. And that tells us all the information about that piece of property. It tells us who owns the property. It tells us if there are any easements that are encumbering on that property. So we got that report. It just, the title company failed to sign the actual report. And that's one of the things that we use for checks and balances as to who owns it, so who's signing it. Also, it lets us know if we have any lien holders on that property, because the lien holders have to sign off on that too, so.
So with that, if we approve it, it will not be finally approved until they return a signed survey?
That is correct. Until staff receives it, it won't be deemed fully approved.
Okay.
Any additional questions? If no, do I have any motions?
I make a motion to approve
With conditions?
with condition.
And do I have a second for that motion?
I'll make a second.
And all those in favor? Motion passes 4-0. Item C, consideration of possible action to approve preliminary plat for Meridiana Section 5 East. Ms. Jessica?
This is a residential section within Meridiana development. Staff is recommending approval with one condition, which is provide drainage district approval of a preliminary drainage plan. The letter of no objection submitted indicates that a drainage plan has not been approved, submitted for approval. The practice is that the drainage district will review the drainage plan as part of the construction plan, which is reviewed by the city also at the same time. So the applicant has been providing approval between preliminary plat and final plat. So that's the reason for the conditional approval. And additionally, staff is also recommending to provide the note listed in the report, which we've been including in some of the preliminary plats from Meridiana, which is to provide a water and sewer availability summary table that includes a summary of currently platted lots and corresponding connections, along with reserved connections and planned future connections. Also include the current capacity of the water and wastewater facilities within MUD 57 or agreements with MUD 55 and 56, etc.
Excellent, thank you. Anybody have any questions?
I have a question on that one. Basically, they need a drainage plan submitted with the plat. Is that what happened? And they didn't do that?
So with a preliminary plat, they do a preliminary drainage plan. Basically says, yep, that looks okay. Now when you come back for your final, let's get more detailed, the actual plans for that drainage. It looks like they did not get any preliminary approval from the drainage district. So we typically will get an approval or a letter of no objection from them. So we haven't gotten that from them. So the city's also a reviewer, as Joe said, plus our drainage districts.
What is the difference between the condition and the note?
So,
Sorry.
I can take that.
Glad you asked that question.
So, the condition pertains to the approval of the preliminary plan. The note we are providing them is, so it's like a heads up saying, hey, make sure you have this taken care of at the time of submitting final plat, because it's an issue that we've identified at this stage.
Very good, thank you.
And actually, that note pertains to the ongoing issue of capacity within Meridiana development that's staff has been working on with them.
Any additional questions? No? Any motions?
I'll make a motion for approval for the regular agenda item C with the condition provided by the city staff.
Okay,
I'll second that.
second. All those in favor? And motion passes 4-0. Okay. Agenda item D, this will be from our public hearing, so this will be consideration and possible action to approve and forward to City Council with recommendation to City Council ordinance 2023-0-15. And this will be Joe's.
So this is a request for a specific use permit. The subject site is located at 17205 Highway 6. Basically, this is within the Manvel Town Center development. It's a commercial reserve within the development. The applicant is requesting an SUP to allow for NAICS use number 621210, which is the offices of dentists. It's like a dental office. The reason for this request is because Manvel Town Center is within a PUD, and the PUD document lists land uses allowed within light commercial as land uses allowed within the PUD. However, it also includes a statement that when in situations where a land use requires a SUP approval, the SUP approval process would be addressed. So that is the reason why we have this application. In reviewing the land use, this is a dental office. It's within that large category of medical offices which requires an SUP. It'll be similar to any other general office in terms of its intensity, in terms of traffic volume, trip generation. So staff doesn't see any objection or any kind of detrimental impact within the development. So therefore, staff is recommending approval with the predetermined conditions that we have as part of that land use, which includes 3 items. One is the facility is only permitted to operate during hours of 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. each day unless authorized by an approved SUP. At this point, I would want to mention that the applicant has requested to adjust that time allowance to 7 a.m. because they may have occasions where they may start at 7 a.m. And staff is recommending approval of that request. The second item is all waiting and or lobby areas shall maintain an unobstructed view from the outside. And finally, all doors shall remain unlocked and accessible during normal business hours. The app right now, shell building construction plans is under review, And based on those plans, we see that the building will have a storefront. So it's very likely that the conditions can be met, the second condition specifically. The report included aerial views, aerial images of the site, and we've also included a copy of the plat, the application, and a copy of a snapshot of their site layout as well. The applicant is not here tonight, but if you all have any questions, we'll be more than happy to answer them.
I have a question. On this specific permit use and going into the town center, because it's a medical deal, a dentist office, there's nothing in the zoning for that area because it's already commercial, that he had to come and ask for this? Is that what I'm understanding?
Great question. So you're right. This is a Manvel Town Center. They have their own planned unit development PUD. In their PUD, they reference the city's zoning ordinance that's in effect at the time on how we'll handle what you call your light commercial uses. And since in the city's zoning ordinance, a dentist's office needs a specific use permit, that's why we've had to go through this process. When the zoning ordinance, when the PUD was adopted back when this wasn't into effect, so I'd imagine if the developer was maybe doing it today, they'd probably put some caveats in there about not having this extra process.
Any additional questions?
Yeah, is this land is stand-alone half-acre land? Basically, because my understanding, this whole area is a part of like a Manvel City Hall. I mean, like city town hall things. So this
This is like a
Standalone.
Yeah, it's a standalone commercial reserve which has already been planted.
already been planted. Okay, just only changing the specific use permit right now.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, that's all.
Anything else? No. I'll give you a motion to approve or forward a recommendation to City Council for approval with the 3 conditions. The first one amended to be 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Any seconds for that motion?
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor? Motion passes 4-0. Okay. On to the easy stuff. See, consideration and possible action to direct staff to provide applicants written statements of the conditions for any conditional approvals and the reasons for disapprovals of any plans or plats that were not approved per Texas Local Government Code 212.0091. Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
So this item is on the agenda anytime we'd have a conditional approval or staff is bringing an unfavorable recommendation. You are the governing body, so what this is saying is you're asking staff to write that letter on your behalf of the decisions that were made on any of the plats that were conditionally approved or not approved today.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, we will write it on your behalf and we will send it to them.
Do I have any motions?
I'll make a motion for the item number E.
Okay. I'll second that motion. All those in favor? Motion passes 4-0. Okay, item F, consideration and possible action to appoint a planning, development, and zoning commission chairperson. So we looking for motions on that.
Is it possible to leave those F, G, and H for next meeting? I'm just my curiosity.
We can.
Because since we don't have 3 members missing, we just only 4.
We can.
So it just offer,
Yeah, if like to, table F, G, and H. I'm okay with it.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll second that motion then.
Oh, it's gone already.
All those in favor of tabling F, G, and H? And that's 4-0. Second to final item for the evening, consideration possible action to approve excuse committee member absences. Motions.
I'll make a motion for that one.
Second.
And all those in favor? Motion passes unanimously. And I need one final motion, please.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? And that one always passes unanimously.